sin idioma. Cuando era niño, hablaba español con mis padres y con mi familia. Era muy contento y feliz. Pero cuando asistí a las escuelas, me forzaron a hablar el English. Y con el tiempo se me forgot el Spanish. Con golpes y con vergüenza, yo he aprendido to speak English bien. Hasta el primer grado, no podía speak very good con mi abuelita y se enojaba mucho. Hasta el sexto, no sabía what language que estaba hablando. I was going to the tienda with my carnal. I was changing my calzones every day. My mamá was always wearing her chanclas. My teacher was a pinche way. I was always fighting with the babosos, and I hated the gabachos. When my mamá was mad at us, me and my carnales were pendejos. My tías used to gasp when I told them how I went chingazos. Híjole, qué confusion. They confused me in school, cut me off linguistically from my family, made me stop speaking Spanish, and didn't teach me English. Now, I'm illiterate in 2 languages. From Momentary Peace, this is an observational poem about homelessness. She rose from her frigid dreams as warmth, bright and yellow, began to peek over the shadows of slumber. Ice daggers slowly melted from her torso and limbs as one fist rises and declines, head weaving and bobbing, words flowing like a raging river, bundled in numbing cold vapors, carrying each word as the sun rises slowly. She argues intensely, passionately, as she does every morning when she is severed from her momentary peace, nestled in unconsciousness, all that she is unleashed in a fury of expletives, sung in sorrowful prose. She curses the neglect and instability that rules her life, against the officials, the neighbors who want her invisible, against the empty, warm spaces that she cannot occupy, against the unwillingness to see her and offer her a warm bed with a roof over her head. She argues furiously with what she has left of herself until she can argue no more.
The tumor registry. My swollen thighs are rubbing against my balls, declares my dying friend Jack. Call the nurse, I shot back. Terrificacious. What? Terrificacious. It's a word I picked up from the beyond. You're good company in your present state. I'll be less bad company presently. Allowing no crying in his presence. Save the tears for the funeral, he tells us. When I call him at the last roundup hospice, is this Sugar Ray, I ask? It's Saccharin Ray, he replies. An old theater hand, he does rib-splitting Alzheimer imitations of other patients. My mortal mirror, tumorous, humorous friend. My humor is depleting 5% a day. I can't wait to hear my eulogy. Poor me, all I did was get what I wanted. Every day is a poem dedicated to one day more. I could get into writing some post-life poetry. he made you. In a garden of poems, he gave you birth. Chant the old Aztecs in his ear. We only came to sleep. We only came to dream. Vampire with wings. My roommate, the mosquito, waits late for me to bed, buzzes my head, believes we are wed. My blood, the nectar of the gods, she drinks deep. I can't sleep. No protection from her affection. I swell from her affection. Not to mention, she won't even split the rent. The Who's Who universe. Upon our sensitive skins, our history is tattooed, my fellow former spermazoids. That 1,000,000 to 1 race we raced to be embraced by the ace of eggs, the chosen ones. I salute you. Welcome to my universe, where we who enter don't abandon all hope, where matter is unincorporated, where laws are unenforceable, where gravity is our friend, where sex is stripped of, yet steeped in mystery, minus that lubricant of civilization, hypocrisy.
Finding each other. How can I speak about the way 2 streams fall from the same mountain, meet, mix, and flow together? Their union depends on the minerals in those hills, soft places where the land gives way to the persistent trickle of nourishment for spawning fishes. Renewal occurs in the cycle of evaporation, falling from clouds, hiding this blue hope we open to on sunny days. One thing I know, you can't figure out the finding. It's only as natural as an earthquake, or as a heron stretching her wings over a lagoon. In a pool of clouds, she finds her mate standing there, looking through her reflection, taking what comes to him. They share the familiar, the same source flowing from the river. They share safe places and hunting grottos. Their strength is the way they are simply themselves, lifting off to find their place above the river, nesting on a broad fan of pine, on the back of the same ever-changing mountain. The next poem I'd like to read is really dedicated to Santa Cruz. This was written right after the most recent election, and also after the inauguration. It's called Beach Closed. Capitola Beach, Santa Cruz County, 3/11/2017. I watch another family straddle the same sign to explore what winter has washed in. Logs tossed like matchsticks are made into teepees, and children duck in and out to play hide and seek. There must be all races of people out there. Their children exploring what they find, turning over shells, picking up stones, looking for treasure. It is a human happiness to beachcomb. A flock of pigeons peck the sand and strut and chase after females, like those teenagers over by the rocks chasing each other. People break rules in Santa Cruz, It's our duty. We do it together, as the sun is going down slowly, even as some are leaving the beach one by one, except those surfers who jog their way through logs and people to reach the waves. And for some unknown compulsion, I sit here amused and happy, listening to Spanish and Farsi, Hebrew and Serbian, African, jive, and all of us together on the same plot of earth and sea and sky, as one family who break the rules imposed on us. And I am writing it all down furiously. I must be their scribe.
My best audience. Where the heaven is my audience? She's painting mandalas on her toenails and reading Jung to Kitty in a bombed-out garden. He's doing chin-ups after a run around the lake, didn't trip on a landmine today. Mountain sleeping in, cougar wiped out in her den. Bighorn ram winks at his rival. Where is my audience? Oh, there it is, the kind sky, blue sky. Angels with human pretensions, poor devils, the deep blue sea, especially the jellyfish. They've read all my books. On quiet tropical nights, jellies chant my entire opus from the top. This is titled Three Poet Frogs About to Croak. A balmy early morning at the pond, quiet except a mayfly snores, and a hungry toad dreams she swallows the entire universe with only one bird. The three poet frogs always wake up early to chat before those shameless dragonflies shatter the serenity absolute. Attempted poeticide is everyday stuff on this pond. Someone tried to push me off my favorite lily pad yesterday. I almost croaked. Mutters Poet Frog the First, a serious Shakespearean sonnet snob. You're just too sensitive for your own A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, G, G's be more accessible, croaks Poet Frog the Second, the one with a tongue to watch out for. I want a profan to find my poem juicy, gulp it down whole delicious. Poet Frog the Third rolls his wise eyes. Never indulge in a single syllable without a kind and exhilarating purpose. That includes your final croak. Frisky dragonfly gets fresh with the air. Morning opens. Three poet frogs sleep in late and put their croaks on hold.
This is the New Year poem, Year of the Dog. Big yellow dog, hair brushed anew, jumps over logs, wag, wag the tail. One bark for happiness, one bark for loyalty, one bark for sniffing out the goodness in Amma's kitchen. The rooster escapes barely a feather. The pig must squeal for another 12 moons. Big yellow dog, show your tongue, long and curly, vital strength. 3 legs or 4? I like to read an infusion that was written in the style of Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, and I called it Insight at 60. Sometimes 5 minutes, 有時5分鐘, minute, mew. Sometimes 5 minutes, 有時5分鐘, a puddle of muddy water, 一潭污水. Sometimes 5 minutes, 有時5分鐘, brain itch, 腦髓發癢. Therefore the sage accepts this 5 minutes 是以聖人容受此五 even if it feels like 25 縱感如25 laughs at its absurdity 笑其謬 weep at its longevity 泣其壽 A mere parsley worm 綠蟲雖小 Can it not leave a trail 能不留痕跡乎 Therefore be brief when it comes to speaking 是以話簡略 Be concise when it comes to writing 書扼要 Those who follow this 遵此而行者 won't need another 5 minutes 無須多刻
This one is from my book from Asilomar that I wrote there. Reflection. Where did this man come from? East, west, a land no longer known? Where has his feet trod? His voice is strange, a stranger surely to this land. I look at him. I see past his skin and bones. His thoughts are eerie, clearly strange. He seems to know my thoughts, the ones I don't share. He even writes them out for all to hear. How dare he? I get a glance in the mirror, a reflection of me? Nah, not me. Yes, it's me. Who stands next to me, whispering in my ear? Chipmunk Town. Oh, the hawk is back in town. He just ate Uncle Joe. Poor old Joe, a bit old and slow it was. His time to go. Up high he saw him fly, where Mr. Hawk rests satisfied. Home we go to mourn the loss of dear old slow Uncle Joe. This one is out of my chapbook of Bugle Call, Battles in the Duffel. The unspoken death of a vet at home. It's at his doorstep. Home he sees, duffel over his shoulder. Questions linger on same. He knows in details what's bagged up in green canvas. Carefully in private, he unloads letters from home. All that was needed now on his home bed. Softly touching letters of comfort. Treasures in a soldier's life.
Why Sea Stars Rule the World? A poem after the 2016 election. I went down to the beach the day of the inauguration for comfort, inspiration, and hope. The ocean was stormy and upset, with brown milk chocolate waves charging the cold beach. At first I thought Mother Ocean was as angry and afraid as the rest of us at this election, but after a while of standing there taking in the fresh salt air, I felt the ocean say, "Don't be ridiculous. We're not afraid of that lunatic clown you elected. So go make yourself useful," Mother Ocean continued, "but do not be afraid and do not be discouraged." That helped. The beach is a great comforter in uncertain times. The world under the sea hides forests of swaying kelp, myriad animals known and unknown in the deep, mysterious sea. And among these salty neighbors of ours are the amazing sea stars, creatures we used to call starfish because, well, they're not fish. Another writer describes sea stars as no eyes, no brain, no problem. These wonderful sea creatures are 450 million years old, and if they lose a limb, they just regrow another. Sea stars give us hope, especially in these challenging times. They are sturdy, and even with no eyes, no brains, no problem, they outdo us. Sea stars are creative, adaptable, humble, very unassuming. Sea stars are patient and very quiet. They do not take more than their fair share. They do not discard plastics into the sea. They do not pollute. They do not start wars. And sea stars do not elect orange-haired, unqualified maniacs to run their world. The sea stars and the rest of patient nature witness our painfully slow development with a grace and patience that boggles the mind. I'm surprised a whole army of sea stars or other creatures hasn't simply risen up and done away with us. And so for these and many other reasons, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I therefore conclude that sea stars do indeed, or at least should, rule the world. Fireplace. A red brick fireplace in a simple house from years ago lives on in me still, though it is long gone. That hearth was the heart of my world. Those peaceful yellow crackles still warm me today. On quiet nights, the ocean's distant pulse reached us as we sat in that cozy room. Sometimes there was popcorn along with orange warmth dancing on logs. The fireplace's gentle snapping comforted more than my skin. It soothed my very soul. Even the later dark years of bourbon's destruction could not erase those lovely flames. And now, though long gone, that fireplace and its warmth and those days burn steady and strong within me, living forever in and around me always, close as my own heart. Fried egg flowers. They have a real name, probably. These huge, gangly flowers on stalks towering over me with giant petals like white silk, flapping in the breeze without a care in the world, and yolk-yellow centers, fat as eggs, around which bees flutter and hum. Who made these plate-sized blossoms anyway, and why does standing next to them feel as comforting as a child sheltered by her grandfather? I feel strangely encouraged, like by a sparkling waterfall. These fried egg flowers nod and shimmy in the wind, apparently afraid of nothing in their wind-blown, ridiculous beauty. They grow on fuzzy, awkward stalks, seemingly all abandoned, but muscling their way out of a crack in the asphalt of a church parking lot. No one waters them but God, yet they thrive tall and magnificent and cheerful, and say quite clearly, do not say impossible, too late, or never. Forget about it does not exist. You can begin again at any time. Just being here or anywhere with your roots or complete lack of roots is just fine, is all we ask. You're doing better than you know and are loved more than you can imagine. Just trust it is enough to be alive, to be here, to breathe, to try.
I'm going to start with this poem, Gate C22. At Gate C22 in the Portland airport, a man in a broadband leather hat kissed a woman arriving from Orange County. They kissed and kissed and kissed. Long after the other passengers clicked the handles of their carry-ons and wheeled briskly toward short-term parking, the couple stood there, arms wrapped around each other like he'd just staggered off the boat at Ellis Island, like she'd been released at last from ICU, snapped out of a coma, survived bone cancer, made it down from Annapurna in only the clothes she was wearing. Neither of them was young. His beard was gray. She carried a few extra pounds you could imagine her saying she had to lose. But they kissed lavish kisses, like the ocean in the early morning, the way it gathers and swells, sucking each rock under, swallowing it again and again. We were all watching. Passengers waiting for the delayed flight to San Jose, the stewardesses, the pilots, the aproned woman icing Cinnabons, the man selling sunglasses. We couldn't look away. We could taste the kisses crushed in our mouths. But the best part was his face when he drew back and looked at her. His smile soft with wonder, almost as though he were a mother, still open from giving birth. As your mother must have looked at you, no matter what happened after. If she beat you, or left you, or you're lonely now. You once lay there, the vernix not yet wiped off, and someone gazed at you as if you were the first sunrise seen from the earth. The whole wing of the airport hushed, all of us trying to slip into that woman's middle-aged body, her plaid Bermuda shorts, sleeveless blouse, glasses, little gold hoop earrings, tilting our heads up. wanted to write a poem about oysters for a long time, and also because I love them, and also I wanted to write a poem about people who believe in reincarnation and that whole huge topic that comes up in so many spiritual and religious beliefs. And then somehow they came together, and this is called reincarnation. Who would believe in reincarnation if she thought she would return as an oyster? Eagles and wolves are popular. Even domesticated cats have their appeal. It's not terribly distressing to imagine being Missy, nibbling kibble and lounging on the windowsill. But I doubt the toothsome oyster has ever been the totem of any shaman fanning the motherpiece tarot or smudging with sage. Yet perhaps we could do worse than aspire to be a plump bivalve. Humbly, the oyster persists in filtering seawater and fashioning the daily irritations into luster. Dash a dot of Tabasco, pair it with a dry martini. Not only will this tender button inspire an erotic fire in tuxedoed men and women whose shoulders gleam in candlelight, this hermit praying in its rocky cave, this anchorite of iron, calcium, and protein, is practically a molluscan saint, revered and sacrificed, body and salty liquor of the soul. The oyster is devoured, surrendering all, again and again, for love. Some of you may not remember the Motherpiece Tarot, but in the 70s it was a very popular feminist tarot deck, and made by actually Santa Cruz women. And just recently Dior has put some of the images from the Motherpiece Tarot on their clothes, and in the New York Times there was the death card images right on a Dior handbag on page 3 of the Times a few weeks ago. So you just never know anymore where anything is going to be, and I think it's kind of wonderful.
I'm beating up the street tonight. I slept